Are you finished? Morning, welcome back, people. The next 2 hours possibly going to be the highlight of this weekend. Do you agree?
Yes, thank you.
My function here is just to introduce our guest. Now, it's not the usual sort of introduction where I say a few words and say what a great bloke he is and go and sit down. I'm actually got something to do here. George Michael Eviker is going to talk about the rifle, the Manacor Cockano rifle, and then on to other matters. Now, you all know, I'm sure, about the Manacor Cockano rifle, which Lee Harvey Oswald is alleged to have brought to work in Buell Wesley Fraser's car on the morning of the 22nd of November 1963. It was it was allegedly in a brown paper bag or brown paper sack. Lots and lots of problems connected with this. We have Commission Exhibit 1308, which purports to show the paper sack in place as found on the 6th floor in the sniper's nest. The problem is that photograph does not show a paper sack. It's got a dotted line that some lunatic has drawn in, where the paper sack would be if it existed. I maintain it never existed. I've done a lot of research on this. I've spoken about it in Dallas, Washington DC, and in this very room about 3 years ago. I've got a Manacor Cockano rifle. I take it to bits, I put it together again. I take it to bits, I put it together again. And I still cannot reenact what is alleged to have happened to that rifle on that day. The rifle can be broken down, disassembled. If we go to Commission Exhibit 1304, that shows the rifle broken down, as the Warren Commission claims, and you see 2 bits. One is the wooden stock and all the furniture attached to that. The other half is all the metal bits, the barrel, the chamber, the trigger, and all the rest. And they've got it in 2 bits. Now that is not only an inaccurate illustration, it's downright 200% dishonest. Because what they've done, they've taken the gun to pieces and then put it together again, but left the barrel off. The inference is, when you disassemble this rifle, you just get the 2 bits. Now that is crap. That is rubbish. When you take that gun to pieces, you have 12 components. Now add to those 12 components a clip, 4 rounds which Oswald is alleged to have had, plus some means of putting the thing together and disassembling it like a screwdriver, and you're looking at, I think, 17 or 18, no, 19 separate things. So let's go back to basics and then we'll go through this and then I will introduce our guest. Buell Wesley Fraser claimed that he saw Lee Harvey Oswald get out of his car, get out of Fraser's car with this package, and this is the smallest that package could ever be. Oswald holds the package in the palm of his hand there, with this end in his armpit.
He didn't actually say that he saw
Yes, he does.
that package. He said he saw it in his...
Mike, can we have questions at the end, please? Thank you. You cannot do it. I just like an orangutan. You cannot do it. So let's see if we can see what happened. These are the bits. That is the principal metal component. Barrel, the scope, which remains fixed to that all the time, the bolt, the trigger, and the chamber and all the rest of it. That is all the metal components. The other part I have here is the stock. Now the stock is, when you take this rifle to pieces, the stock is the longest piece. You cannot make it smaller than this. It's 34.8 inches long, as you see against the bag there. It gives you enough just to flap over. That is the shortest that rifle can ever be. So the bag cannot be shorter than that. Fraser said it was 27 inches long, that's about 27 inches long. So it's impossible. Okay, now we've got these two bits, 1, 2. But on top of that, what the Warren Commission does not tell us, we also have all these bits. And the Warren Commission also did not tell us that Lee Harvey Oswald was a Spurs fan. And he used... That's not true, that. But what have we in this bag? Let's get all these bits out. Okay. If you look in the back of your little orange book, you'll see a picture of all these bits. Trigger guard. That's called a top stock. It goes on there. 4 screws. Now I put them like this. I fix them to a piece of card so I know which order they go in, because it's hard. These two are about 0.5 millimetre difference in length. 0.5 millimetre. And if you get them in the wrong order, forget it, you've got to start again. 4 screws. We have another screw here, and the front swivel from the sling. They're quite easy. That's a collar that goes around the front of the stock plus part of the metal assembly to hold it all together. Clip with four rounds, which is ridiculous. I mean, you put 6 in and you can do it. You cannot load this, not like that. A screwdriver. This one happens to have LHO on it, but I scratched it on myself, so forget that bit. The Warren Commission claimed that you could do this job with a dime coin. I say you can't do it with a dime coin. I've tried it. I cut my fingers, got blood blisters, and I found that the diameter of a dime coin did not give you sufficient leverage to tighten these screws up. Okay, that's the academic part of it. Let's see if we can do this. Now, I did this in this room once before, about 3 years ago, and I was so nervous that I messed it up. And I thought, oh, I've really dropped a clanger here. And then I thought, well, hang on, if I'm like this, what was Oswald like? Let's say Oswald was the man, and he was doing this. He's taken this thing up to the 6th floor. He's built his little nest of boxes, and they weren't empty boxes, they're full of books. They weigh 100 weight or more each. He's out of breath, he's worried, he's sweating, his heart is going boom, 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 his pulses are racing, he's just about to kill, not just a man, he's just about to kill the most powerful man in the world. At any minute, someone can come through the door, hi Lee, hell, what are you doing? This is all racing through his mind, and he's got to do what I'm going to try and do now under these conditions. Now what I do, I put everything out in the right order, the order that I need to put these things together, in the hope that that will help me not to get too flummoxed. Okay, first of all, this goes in here. Simple. That's the easy bit. But that will not fire and kill presidents. We've got to put some more bits on it. We put it round this way. Now, the next bit that goes on, we have to make sure that is the right way up. That way, not that way. So we make sure that looks all right. It's got to go in there, and then the whole lot has got to go in there, like that. I think. Done it. We've done that first time. That's good. So we're now getting close to. This thing is starting to look like a gun. Let's put that first screw in. That is the one that also incorporates the swivel. Now, the swivel sling, the swing swivel, we've got one there, so this one must go on this side, so therefore it goes in there, if you're lucky. It's very difficult. Now, this is where we need need our glasses, which I've lost. There they are. So take our time, we take our time, because luckily The motorcade's running 5 minutes late, so I've got a bit more time. So, that's got to go. Now, I now notice that is not in the right order, in the place, because I've got it the wrong way round. It should go in that way round. So we'll try again. Now we'll go from there. Now this, if we're lucky, will just about go in there, like that. And the other screw holds it in place through there, couple of turns, and our screwdriver, which I've now lost. Where's that thing? Trusty screwdriver. We tighten that up. Now we've got this right because it's turning, I think. Okay, that's that done in the right place. Now I've got to, I'm going to put this trigger guard assembly on next. That goes through there, that goes in there. It just sits in place, and it will be held in place by 2 screws, one there and one there. Now we've got to make sure we get the right ones in the right places. Now I think the shorter one goes in the front, in there. If it doesn't, then we've messed it up again. I think I might have had that wrong, but let's try the other one at the back. That looks right, let's try that. That looks good, now this one. That's it. Now we're going to come to something very, very interesting, which I discovered last week, and I think is very, very important, and I don't think any researcher has noticed before. We'll screw that one up. We cannot fire this rifle without doing all this. Okay. We can now fire this rifle. On the end here, we have another little collar, and this is another one where you've got to get them in the right order. I think it's like that. That goes in there, and it's secured with 2 more screws, which go in there and there. Now, when this rifle was discovered in the book depository, that collar was in place, and it was secured by 2 screws. The rifle was ready to fire, including that. Now, what I've discovered is the action of putting this collar on there is superfluous to firing the rifle. You don't need to do that. There's no difference in the efficiency of this rifle now or when you've got that collar on there. Now, if I was Oswald, I wouldn't bother with that. You're wasting more time, it's more difficult. The thing still fires perfectly accurately without that collar being attached. Now, I've never read this or heard this anywhere from anybody, from Craig Roberts or any of the other acknowledged Mannlicher volcano experts. I don't know if I've stumbled on something new. Maybe I have. Maybe it's old hat and it doesn't matter. But the fact is, you do not need to do this to make this weapon capable of killing a president. Now, I will carry on and try and get these in the right place. I think that one goes in there, and I think the other one goes in front. Now, as I say, the difference in length of these 2 things is 0.5 millimetre. But if you get them wrong, you can't do it. So we will do it. I think we've got it right. There. That's that one. And then we do this one. And then we'll be ready for you guys to come up here one at a time and hold this rifle, and I'll take photographs of you and charge you $5 a time. Okay. That rifle is now ready to fire. The scope on the Oswald rifle is alleged to have been misaligned, which I think is nonsense. There was a story that it was set for a left-handed shooter. That's rubbish. That's nonsense. It's possibly aligned for a left-eyed shooter, which I am, but it's offset from the centre because it has to be, otherwise you can't get the clip in. It's just slightly offline from the centre. But that is the rifle as it was found, but it did have a sling on it. The Oswald rifle, or whatever we want to call it. Now, among the things I found when I was doing this, taking this to bits and putting it together again, that as far as I know have never been acknowledged or mentioned by any of the other people who've written about this. When you have the stock and this big metal bit, and the gun is disassembled, and you put it in the bag, those two pieces rub together, the result of which this stock becomes incredibly scratched in that area there. You cannot prevent this. You've got things like the trigger, these bits, all these lumpy bits, jagged bits, scratching against that. When the gun was found, there was nothing found to indicate that there'd been a Spurs bag or any other sort of bag to put these bits in. You need it. You're talking about 12 components, including 5 small screws and various other small pieces. When the Warren Commission blandly says he took a disassembled rifle to work, it was disassembled into 12 bits. It wasn't just 2 bits. You've then got the problem of a clip, which has been a source of endless problems from that day to this. This is a Mannlicher Carcano clip with 4 Mannlicher Carcano 6.5 bullets. This rifle, by the way, is deactivated. It's incapable of being fired. If it were not deactivated, I wouldn't be allowed to own it, thanks to our draconian gun laws. To load it, you open it up there. Now you've got to imagine this has got 6 in it, not 4. You can't do it with 4. And that goes in there, the clip with 6 rounds. And it goes in there, and then you do that. You have now loaded one rifle. You fire it. There are now 5 left. You put another one in the. Nothing's falling out. Nothing's coming out yet. Sorry, they're falling out there. Every time you do that, you fire one, push the next one in, and one falls out there. Now we've got this problem with this clip, whether or not it automatically falls out when the next one is chambered. And if brass clip. Now I do have a problem here, and you'll have to trust me here, because with an ordinary Mannlicher, if you put it in there, it will slip straight through. With this one being deactivated, the things that they've done to it at the Birmingham Small Arms proof place, it doesn't do it properly, because it will fall out through there. Because all that is holding that clip in the gun is the next bullet. And as long as there is at least one bullet still in the clip will not fall through that well at the bottom. As soon as the last round is chambered, in other words pushed into the chamber, there's nothing to hold this in, and gravity just does that and it pushes it through. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact. But as I say, I can't demonstrate it because the way the deactivation process has affected this rifle, they've put lead in a barrel and mucked around with a firing pin, and it's physically incapable of taking a full clip. But those are some of the things that we found that make this weapon rubbish. It's a rubbish gun. The story of it being disassembled and taken to the book depository is nonsense. Now the biggest piece of nonsense of all, why would Oswald or anybody else take this gun to bits for the sake of saving that length? You're saving less than 5 inches, less than 6 inches. By disassembling the thing, going to all that trouble, causing yourself all that grief. I'm sweating just doing it to you people. But you're saving about 5.5 inches. Is it worth it? Well, if he gets a bag this long, why not get a bag 6 inches, another 6 inches long? Perhaps he didn't get a bag, perhaps it wasn't a bag, perhaps Oswald wasn't there, perhaps. Those are some of the problems that we've discovered whilst looking at this rifle. When the gun was found, when the rifle was found, it was like that. There was one bullet one bullet had been chambered, like that, and there were 3 empty shells on the floor. That indicates whoever had it put 4 bullets into it. Oswald, there was no record of Oswald ever buying ammunition. We don't know where he got any ammunition. He's alleged to have taken this thing out target shooting, and we don't know where he got bullets for that. He went in the park shooting at the leaves. You believe that? He took the baby out in the pram with this, and every now and then, oh, there's a leaf, I'm going to shoot it. Yeah, bang, oh, come on, push the pram. Who believes that? Oh, Marina said it must be true. Marina said it must be true. that basically is my part of this gun. That's how this, my part of this presentation with this crazy gun.